Have you ever felt yourself drifting away from people you once called friends, even though nothing dramatic happened? No fights, no conflict, just a quiet distance growing between you and everyone else. Psychology says this isn't ego or coldness. It's a sign your mind is evolving faster than the environment you're in. And when your inner world shifts, your outer world rarely keeps up. Outgrowing people is a psychological transformation, not a personality flaw. It happens when your emotional patterns, values, and thinking styles develop in ways others don't recognize. These shifts create invisible distance long before you notice it consciously. Here's what's really happening inside you. You start craving depth more than familiarity. In psychology, this comes from a rise in cognitive complexity. Your mind begins processing life through deeper layers of meaning. Conversations that once felt fun now feel empty, because your brain is no longer satisfied with surface-level social loops. You're not rejecting people. You're simply no longer stimulated by the same emotional diet. This is why small talk feels heavier, why silence feels calmer, and why you find yourself drawn to people who think symbolically instead of reactively. You begin noticing patterns in people's behavior you used to ignore. Psychologists call this heightened social awareness, the ability to read emotional patterns, inconsistencies, and motivations beneath the surface. Suddenly, the friend who only calls when they need something becomes obvious. The subtle competitiveness becomes clear. The emotional immaturity you tolerated now drains you. You're not becoming judgmental. You're becoming perceptive. Your brain is shifting from emotional autopilot to conscious evaluation. And once you see someone's real pattern, you can't unsee it. This clarity naturally creates distance, because your mind now prioritizes psychological safety over social history. Your boundaries strengthen, not loudly, not aggressively, quietly. This happens when your self-concept becomes clearer, a process psychologists call identity consolidation. You stop over-explaining yourself. You stop accepting half-effort friendships. And without realizing it, you stop shrinking to keep others comfortable. People who are used to the old version of you often experience this as distance or attitude, even though it's really just growth. You're finally choosing environments that don't punish your authenticity. And when you stop abandoning yourself for connection, you naturally stop tolerating people who only love the versions of you that required self-betrayal. Your emotional regulation improves. This happens when your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for long-term thinking, becomes stronger through self-reflection. You stop responding impulsively. You stop chasing validation. And you stop matching other people's chaos with your own. Psychologists call this emotional differentiation, the ability to feel deeply without becoming emotionally fused with others. People who rely on drama, momentum, or codependent connection suddenly feel foreign to you, not because you're cold, but because your nervous system no longer resonates with survival-based relationships. Peace becomes your new baseline, and not everyone knows how to meet you there. You start choosing growth over belonging. One of the strongest predictors of outgrowing people is psychological flexibility, the willingness to evolve, even if it costs you old identities. Most people stay where they feel familiar, not where they feel fulfilled, but your mind begins valuing expansion over comfort. You're no longer afraid of being misunderstood, because you finally understand yourself. And that shift makes you drift from circles built on sameness, routine, or nostalgia. Outgrowing people is simply your brain aligning with your future, instead of your past. It's a transition, not a loss. Outgrowing people isn't abandonment. It's evolution. Your mind becomes deeper, your awareness sharper, your boundaries cleaner, your emotions steadier, and your values clearer. And when those transformations happen, your old connections can't always follow. You're not becoming distant. You're becoming defined. And people who haven't grown the same way will naturally fall away. Not because you're better, but because you're becoming yourself. If this helped you understand your own growth, subscribe now. You're not losing people. You're revealing who actually grows with you. And here, we make sense of every psychological shift your mind has been trying to explain.